Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and in today's video and today's live stream this afternoon, we're going to be talking about the Yankees slump as of late. Are they broken? Is this a team that can put it back together after another ugly loss last night? It looked like the Yankees were cruising to a 3-0 victory before a seventh-inning implosion from Jonathan Loaisiga and another stretch of just poor at-bats with runners in scoring position in extra innings cost them from winning a game and knotting up the series. Instead, the Yankees dropped the series and now have to play to avoid the sweep with their division lead down to just one game. My name is Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees. We are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, this YouTube page. Earlier today, I released a video giving you my first edition of our deadline plan, and we've got a lot to talk about. Look, I do not believe that this play lately is, I'm going to fix my chair first, remotely acceptable. I've talked about this before on my Twitter page. I've talked about this right here on Fireside Yankees. The play that they have shown over the last 2 weeks is not acceptable. It's bad. It's unacceptably bad, and we have to call it out for what it is. It is not acceptable. There are slumps that can happen, and I'm sorry. Look, there are slumps, and then there's bad fundamental baseball. We've seen a lot of bad fundamental baseball, crucial mistakes, critical mistakes, game-changing mistakes, and some really bad hitting in clutch situations, some poor hitting in high-leverage situations. We're going to go through the statistics, go through what is cause for long-term concern, what can be considered short-term concern, and all of that and more right here. But I want to appreciate everyone who's here. If you're here right now on the YouTube page, Let's go Yankees. I know it's maybe not the most enthusiastic fan time right now in Yankee land, but just to let us know you're here, shoot us a quick let's go Yankees in the comments below. I see it's over. If you can't take care of teams like the Red Sox or under 500 Reds, then face it, you're not built for October. Look, I don't think you can judge a team on what they'll do in October based on their worst. Look, the Yankees are playing bad right now. I don't think they're this bad. Right? The Yankees, you're not as bad as you are when it's going bad, and you're not as good as you are when it's going good. Both things are true. And I think the Yankees hopefully will pick things up and play some better baseball after, again, another tough week for the Yankees or tough start for the week. So don't think the season's over in June, but definitely some concerning signs here. We've got a lot to talk about today about the Yankees lineup. Got to do better. This is unacceptable. Yankees lineup isn't scoring enough. Runs bullpen. Yeah, the Yankee offense in high-leverage situations this season continues to just be abhorrent. Like, they have been really bad in these spots. This isn't a trend either that is, something that carried over from last year. They have just been awful in these spots. I tweeted this out yesterday. The New York Yankees are the worst offense in baseball in high-leverage situations relative to their performance. No teams sees their production drop more than the New York Yankees has relative to the leverage of situations. So high leverage situations, important spots. In fact, as an offense, the New York Yankees have a negative win probability added, which is kind of crazy to think about. They are 13th in win probability added. They are bad at it. It's crazy considering how good they are as a group, but they just do not hit in big spots. That isn't something that's predictive, by the way. This is not predictive. This isn't sticky. Both those things meaning to say that this does not indicate that it will continue to occur this way, but it has not occurred this way in the month of June. It has not broken their way. They have not been able to come through in these spots. Furthermore, in high leverage situations this season, so high leverage considering it is based on what Fangraphs perceives as high leverage, the New York Yankees have a 55 weighted runs created plus, are hitting 189 with a 269 on base percentage, just 5 home runs and a 293 slug. The Yankees are one of the worst offenses in this spot, point blank period. Only the White Sox and Rangers are worse in these scenarios. When a big hit needs to happen, the Yankees have not been able to pick one up. It has just been the theme of this month. It has been the theme of the season. In big spots, the Yankees do not come through. And, they have still won a lot of games despite it. But I just really, really have a hard time buying the New York Yankees being able to win games and not being able to hit in high leverage situations. So, yeah, let's look a little bit here at some of the other comments. First and third with only one out is a guaranteed strikeout. Yeah, it's been that way. The Yankees with first and third have also not had a lot of success. They've been really bad with runners on second. There's a lot of the results have been really bad. The results have been very bad in these spots. Again, I emphasize that clutch stats and runners in scoring position stats tend to not be very sticky, but this team is playing more like, hey, we're not going to hit in these spots. We're not doing it. We're not hitting in these spots. We're just not. And I'm going to attribute a lot of that to the guys in the offense. And I'm also going to attribute a decent amount of it to Aaron Judge. Not saying he deserves the largest share of the blame. That would be crazy to say. But he deserves to get some criticism here for it because The Yankees have needed Aaron Judge to be a hero, to be Superman. I've mentioned this multiple times, and he has not been Superman. He has been the opposite. He has fallen in line with the trend of not being able to hit in these high leverage, big moment, big game situations. That has to change. It just does. He has to be better in these spots if the New York Yankees want to break out of this slump and win more baseball games. Also, appreciate you saying you love the Suarez analysis. Big fan of Eugenio Suarez. And if he does get traded, the Yankees should offer a very hefty package to get him at the trade deadline. Let's go Yankees. Yeah, let's go Yankees. Can't repeat your name, but let's go Yankees. Ryan can't blame Aaron Boone for the loss, and folks continue with talking points. It's Boone's fault it's totally BS, as Jason Run 61 River Ave said. Honestly, I'm in agreement. I don't believe Aaron Boone is at fault for what happened yesterday. The Yankees pulled Carlos Rodon, and people will say that's early, but Rodon admitted he was gassed, and I don't think people understand how hot it is in the United States right now. Cincinnati, it was 104 and humid. It was not good conditions, and you're trying to protect your athletes long-term, and you're also trying to make sure you don't throw out someone who's absolutely gassed and clearly does not have it, but is telling you, hey, I don't have it. I really don't have it right now. I know he was pitching well. I know he was pitching really well, but you have to listen to your athlete. You have to be receptive to the athlete, and you have to be willing to pull someone when they're gassed, or else you run having a tired pitcher try and throw the baseball, which can result in injury. So these kinds of situations, you've got to be smart. And Aaron Boone, he was proactive. He tried to be proactive and not reactive. And it bit him in the butt. Loaizaga has to do a job. Jonathan Loaizaga has to be better there. And the bullpen as a whole has to be better. And the offense has to be better with runners in scoring position. I get fired up even just thinking about those situations, runners in scoring position, these road games that they've lost. They're 1-6 in extra inning games. 0-6, I believe, in road extra inning games this year. Games in Seattle, games in Pittsburgh, games in Cincinnati, games in Boston. We've got to win these games. You have these games in your hand. The other team doesn't score. The other team isn't putting up runs, and you can't put up a run. You can't put one damn run on the board. The Yankees put up a run in the top of the 10th, and they win that damn baseball game. That is the kind of stuff that's just unacceptable. It really is. They can't hit in these games. They have not been able to. Not saying that they won't, but they have not been able to. And regardless of whether you are, someone who tends to just be like, hey, the average is what the average is. I don't like this. I don't think math belongs in baseball, et cetera, et cetera. Or you're someone who does believe math belongs in baseball. The data is telling you they have not hit in these spots. Have not. Doesn't mean will not, but have not. That's frustrating. That's frustrating. And again, I point to, I need my captain. I need 99. I need Aaron Judge. I need the New York Yankees superstar to be better in these spots. I need the New York Yankees superstar to hit in these spots. That's the guy I'm looking at. If I'm looking at anyone, need to turn to you, need you to deliver a big at bat, need you to deliver the game-changing blow, help the Yankees win a baseball game. I need Aaron Judge to do it. I need Aaron Judge with 2 out, bases loaded, and a wild pitcher to not chase a 1-1 pitch and not pop out and end the inning there and push the bullpen to be even more burnt. I need you to step up in that spot. I need Austin Wells to not chase a pitch at his head. First pitch fastball at his head to pop out. I need that to be better. I need this offense to do better. And again, I need Aaron Judge to deliver a big hit. He needs to deliver a big hit. I'm sorry. It has to happen. And I continue to emphasize that point because when your number 2 hitter or your number 3 hitter, he's one or the other, the Yankees change his spot in the lineup every now and then. When he is not hitting in these spots, it's killing your offense because no one is seeing more runners on than Aaron Judge. No one's going to get more traffic on and more opportunities to hit in these spots than your number 2 or your number 3 hitters. That's why he's hitting there. That's why you need him to hit there. That's what you need him to be. You need him to step up in these situations. He has been unable to this season. With runners in scoring position, his weighted runs created plus drops from 223 to 135. Still good, but it drops. Look at in high leverage. In high leverage situations this year, Aaron Judge has provided a 59 WRC plus. No, excuse me, a 109 WRC plus. Performance drops off a cliff in these spots. He's slugging 440. These are good numbers. It's not bad numbers, but it's a precipitous drop-off in production in big spots. Can't have that happen. Cannot have that happen and try and win baseball games at the same time. You need both. You need it to be in small spots, but you need it in big spots. You desperately need it in big spots. The reason you have a superstar is so that you can win baseball games, and you can win baseball games because of your superstar. He's not doing that right now. And the Yankees aren't going to break out of a slump until he delivers that big hit. I'm saying it right now. They're not breaking out of it until he steps up. And until he steps up, and if he continues to not step up, this is what's going to continue to happen. They're going to continue to lose these baseball games because no one is going to have more opportunities than him in these spots to come up and get a big hit. I know this isn't going to be a popular take, but the Yankees have to cut Giancarlo Stanton. Since he's returned, the offense has died because running score position, we were 4th in April and 2nd in May and 17th, down to 17th in June. And ever since June 12th, we were supposed to return to Yankee Stadium. Boston versus Boston, the offense has died. I'm sorry to say Stanton isn't in need anymore. He's a one-tool DH who's injury-prone, and Ben Rice has replaced Stanton. And look at the team before he returned and after his return. I don't believe that Giancarlo Stanton's why the entire offense has died. Do I believe Giancarlo Stanton has hit very well since coming back? No. I think he's been, he hasn't hit for power. He's hit a lot of singles. It's not elite production. It's not what you want from your DH. And Ben Rice is, I think, the better hitter at this point in time. But I don't believe cutting Stanton fixes that. I think you need people to step up. Now, if Stanton has a 85 OPS plus, kind of like what he did in 2023, and a negative WAR on August 1st, like, am I going to stop playing him? Yeah, I'd stop playing him. I'd go to Ben Rice way more. I'd figure out how to not have Stanton in the lineup. But we are on June 25th, and he has been a slightly above average hitter. Usually looks way worse in his return from the IL. So not worried yet. Although, again, if he struggles, yeah, it's a conversation. I'm not someone who sits here and says that, young players or, older players who cannot who can't hit the ball, do anything outside of hitting the ball hard. I understand there's not a lot of value in that, and that you need defense and you need base running. I get that, but I think it's a little bit, premature to get to cut Stanton, and he's not the reason why other guys have struggled this year. So, yeah, I just think it's a little bit. Yes, when he returned, the Yankee offense got worse. That did happen, but it's not causation. Like, Stanton coming back didn't cause it, and there's no correlation between it. It just happened. It's like when Cole came back last year, and every starter started struggling, and obviously Garrett Cole I think is a better player than Giancarlo Stanton at this point in their careers, or at that point in his career versus Stanton's point of his career this year. But that wasn't because Garrett Cole was back, and Garrett Cole sucked for a month. That's not because he's back. That wasn't because he was back. It's because they just did. I just elbowed myself. So yeah, long soliloquy to say that it's not Stanton's fault, and I expect him to look worse than he has so far, and I think he'll heat up. And if he doesn't, then yeah, we can revisit this conversation. Ryan, sorry I missed a lot of your streams. All good, Merkwood Studios. I'm glad to have you here. Why do you think Yankee fans hate Anthony Volpe when he's third on the team in RBIs? I will say the concerns about his defense are very valid. He has been a much worse defender this year than last year, and that's a real reason to be critical. His offense has been better than last year's, and his base running's also been worse than last year. So the two things he was really good at last year that made him a 3 to 3.5 WAR player is really good defense at a premium position and really good base running, and I lauded him for both of those things. But this year he's been a net negative on both sides, and that's a problem for me. Even with league average offense, it's not making up the value. And if he doesn't turn it around defensively on the base paths, yeah, I will join the conversation of what is the future of Anthony Volpe on the New York Yankees? I need better defensive play from him. I desperately need the defense to get better. It has to get better. The plays he's not making are killing the Yankees. You could argue they've lost 2 or 3 baseball games on his defense. Now, that's not counting the games that they've won from good defensive plays, but outs above average would tell you that on the season, he is worth -1 outs above average. He has slumped hard defensively after April. He has to be better on the defensive side of the ball, and he has to be better on the bases. Has to be better at both, significantly better at both. And if that doesn't change, I'm fine with him being a league average hitter if those two things if the defense and base running are good, not even utterly elite, just good. I'm fine with it because he plays a premium defensive position. But if he's not going to be good, at both those things, he has to be a great hitter, and he's not a great hitter. So, yeah, that's why people are upset, and that's why I'm starting to kind of see it. He's not doing the thing I lauded him for beforehand. He's not doing the thing that I defended his role in the team for beforehand. So, yeah. Willie Castro, Eugenio Suarez. Jake, great question. Love you, man. I'd say I'd rather have Eugenio Suarez. I think he's a more reliable hitter. I think he's a better defensive third baseman, and I think he would give you a lot more comfort with the middle of your offense. Whereas Willie Castro, you kind of want to hit him 6th or 7th. And the defensive concerns this year are kind of real. He's been a worse defender, more versatile, which helps. But Willie Castro, good player, is kind of like my hey, if you can't get Eugenio Suarez, go get Willie Castro. That's how I view it. Not if you can't get Willie Castro, go for Eugenio Suarez. So yeah. What to do when Volpe doesn't hit though? Can't send him down. So you got to play him out this year. Unless they trade for a shortstop or can trade a shortstop. Like I don't really know. But you got to play him out. Like he's so much better than Oswald Peraza. Oswald Peraza sucks. Like I hate to be that guy, but he's not very good at baseball. Seems like a good dude, but he's not good at baseball. Really bad at bats. Not a good enough defender either. Like he's really not a very talented defensive shortstop, which is shocking because I really thought he was going to be good defensively. I thought that was going to be like his calling card, but it's not that. So, yeah. Ryan, I'm hard passing Willie Castro. Brandon, I'd love to hear why. Really hate the ghost runner. I hate the Yankees play with ghost runners. So, yeah. I fixed my name for you. Thank you, Volpe Bombs. Yeah. Now, he didn't have to change your name, but you can understand why I wasn't going to say that on a stream. Patrick says, both NY teams are the coldest teams in baseball. Yeah, they've sucked in June. The Mets and Yankees have sucked in June. Not giving up on Volpe or Dominguez. Talking to Jason this morning on live chat. Yeah, I'm not giving up, especially on Jason. I am not giving up on Jason Dominguez. It's June and he's hit the ball hard. Like there are things I kind of like. But yeah, I agree. Not giving up, but in Volpe's case, and you see more defense. And in Jason's case, I like to see him be a better defensive player. Reminder: Stanton was ALCS MVP. Yeah, look, I'm not. That has not been lost on me. I want to clarify. I am very much it's way too soon to be like, Stanton, you ruined everything. Get him out of here. That kind of thing. They can cut Stanton. To clarify, I have to add, cutting Stanton means you pay the next 2 years of the final 2 years of his deal, and then the remainder of this year. And another team can claim him. They'll do it without taking on the contract, obviously, but then you're paying another team to roster Giancarlo Stanton, and I don't know if you want to fund another team's ability to get him for like the league minimum because he's on that contract. Every team in baseball is eligible to get him for the league minimum once he passes through waivers if he gets cut. Obviously, again, he's not going to get cut today, but I'm just describing what that scenario would look like. Does anyone here want to see Giancarlo Stanton on a league minimum vet deal for like I don't know, it's a team that needs a DH, like the Giants or like the Red Sox? Don't think anyone wants to see that. I believe Rojas did the right thing and held up Volpe at third base. He could have went, but the odds were not good. But Wells has to work the count, and Volpe has to get in from third and slaps the ball in the gap. Yeah, Wells has to have better at-bats. He chases way too much, and that's not what Wells did as a minor leaguer. Very, very frustrating to see him do it right now as the big leagues after not doing that last year either. He's chasing way too much. He needs to be less swing happy. Because the P shooter and bats 3,000. What am I saying? 230. Look, I think Anthony Volpe was a high over criticized player last year. Like I want to sit here and say, like I'll stamp, I'll say it here. I think Anthony Volpe in 2000 and I'm searching for something and I need to get hand sanitizer because I'm gonna need to wipe my nose at some point with a napkin. I feel my nose running. I do not believe Anthony Volpe was a bad baseball player last year. I've said this multiple times on this show and on every platform that I exist on. And I also believe that the New York Yankees do not view Anthony Volpe as a bad baseball player. And I also believe that Anthony Volpe can be better than this and should be better than this. And that he, ultimately is one of the more over-criticized players in New York. I don't know. I don't think he's that bad, but I think he has to play better at shortstop. Oh, this is about the Stanton thing. This is what happens when the front office gets too scared to go over the luxury cap and get guys who okay. Time out. The Yankees are over the luxury tax. And I agree. They could have spent more money. I'm always a proponent that you are the New York Yankees. Money shouldn't be a reason why you can't do something. But I'm also a proponent of the thing that, you have to factor in. You have to be realistic. The New York Yankees cannot be expected to foot some of the tax bills that, would come with like signing, I don't know, Alex Bregman at $40 million on top of everything they did in the offseason. I don't think I think clutch hitting is something like anyone can be bad at clutch hitting. Anyone can. And anyone can be good at clutch hitting at any point in time as long as you're a good hitter. So, yeah. If you're good, you can be good or bad in clutch. If you're bad, you can somehow still be good or bad in clutch. So, you just acquire good hitters and hope that luck bounces your way and that guys hit in big spots. I don't give a rat's ass about what they said. Cutting Stanton is possible. Yeah, no, I don't think it's possible, but again, they're not going to do it right now, and they shouldn't do it right now. Hasn't Suarez been a worse defender than Castro, though? That's a great question. Suarez's defense has gotten better throughout the season. I think he's at 0 defensive runs saved and -2 outs above average. And in his career, he's been a better defender. So I'm doing this from the standpoint of I think Suarez's defense to start the year was fluky and that it will be better. I also believe, though, that Castro's defense at third base this year is fluky and that 63 innings are not enough for me to outweigh what I think is a quality defensive third base. Not a great one, just a quality one. No, Austin Riley will not be available. Peraza as a cannon, though, still a bad defender at short. Like, has not performed well at the position at all. And I'm just going to I have a napkin over here. I'm just going to grab it real quick. So I'm going to mute myself and I'll be right back in like 10 seconds. Don't know what causes your nose to run in the middle of the summer, but mine did. Got some hand sanitizer on my hands. So yeah, Peraza has not performed well enough at shortstop defensively. I'm sorry. I'm tired of Boone's lineup construction changes every game. I don't think it's bad to say that lineup construction, like I don't think the lineup construction is the issue. And I also don't believe that changing your lineup's a bad thing. They have a lot of players that are like in the offense. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like, I think this is just like complaining to complain. I think it's complaining to complain. Didn't realize what that sounded until you said it. Yeah. Again, not a bad name. Just, I can't say it. So yeah. Why do you think Volpe's defense has dropped off? Defense is very hard to analyze year to year, even because it can fluctuate. By the end of the year, Anthony Volpe could have like 5 outs above average or -5 outs above average. It's very hard to project defense. It very much is. Sounds like the Yankees should have pulled the trigger on Bregman instead of being scared of the luxury tax. Maybe he's healthy with us too. Again, I just think that it's like, remember, he signed for $40 million. That means the Yankees would have to pay $80 million to acquire him. I understand why the Yankees did not pay $80 million to acquire Bregman. Now, if you told me, all right, Ryan, knowing what you're getting from Trent Grisham, do you still acquire Cody Bellinger? My answer would have been no, and then I would have just acquired Alex Bregman for what would have been $20 million more, yes, but I would have just rather done that. That's fair. I think that's a fair thing to say. But remember, the perspective or the perception of Trent Grisham was that he was a backup outfielder, someone you might trade to save some money or non-tender to save some money. So don't think that's fair either. Castro doesn't guarantee offensive production for the Yankees. That is true. So it is fair to say that Willie Castro is not the bat that Eugenio Suarez is, because he's not. But Willie Castro over the last 3 years has been an above average hitter, and that's an upgrade over DJ LeMahieu while also moving Jazz back to second. If you have to look at the infield market. It's not good, and Suarez may not get dealt. If you do nothing like you did in the offseason, you're going to put yourself in a bad spot like you did in the offseason. You have to do something. So again, I'm not saying Willie Castro is Eugenio Suarez is star offensive bat, but he's a quality hitter. He's about 10% better than the league average offensively. That is something the Yankees should desperately target if they cannot get anything else going for them at the deadline. And his bat does fit Yankee Stadium well. So again, Brandon, I hear you. He's not a stud bat, but it like in the offseason, who's better? Because you got Suarez, maybe gets dealt. And then what else? McMahon? Got to pay him for 2 more years. Got to pay. And you also have to adjust. It's 2 years, $32 million remaining on the deal after this year. So you have to, under the CBA, you must recalculate the luxury tax hit by using the remaining money on the deal and then dividing it by the years left on the deal. So the Yankees would be on the hook for $16 million towards the luxury tax. Nolan Arenado, number one, the Cardinals are contenders and they're playing really good baseball. And number two, with Nolan Arenado, look, he is not a bad baseball player. He's not the worst baseball player in the world. And I think he's better than DJ LeMahieu. I think all those things are true. But he has a 96 weighted runs created plus, means he's 4% worse than the league average. He's hit 10 home runs in 74 games, probably going to hit around, probably going to hit around 20. He is a good defender still. Bad base run. Like he's going to end the year with like 2.5 WAR. Is that the player the New York Yankees should be throwing into their offense and then paying for the next 2 years? Because the answer is no. So, yeah, there's just not a lot better out there. I don't know how it works, but Jason's OAA has stayed at -5 since April. Does that mean he's had 0 OAA from then to now? He has been better out there. And that's eye test and data. I think he's actually just been and I'm sorry, I'm just adjusting my chair here. I can check right now, but I'm pretty sure he's been a 0 OAA guy for about 2 months now. Like he hasn't been a butcher in the outfield. A lot of his bad defense was the first month of the year. So we can go by, if we want to look at March, April, I'm going to look at the New York Yankees. So we're going to go to teams, go to Yankees. We're going to update. In March, Jason Dominguez was worth -4 outs above average. In May, Jason Dominguez was worth -2 outs above average. In June, Jason Dominguez has been worth 1 outs above average. So Jason Dominguez has progressively gotten better in left field throughout the year, and that's something the Yankees believed was going to happen. I think that's something that the New York Yankees are kind of forgetting here, or Yankee fans are forgetting, that defense can be a progress and that defense can take time to develop and that he's developing out there. That's why I can't imagine giving up on Jason Dominguez in year one. I just can't. Even if he ends up like a -2 OAA guy in his career, like year in, year out, that's fine. He's a good base runner and I think he can hit. So he's a good player. I think he's a good player. I think people are way too critical of him right now. Makes boneheaded mistakes at times, sure, but so does Ben Rice. So does Aaron Judge. So does Anthony Volpe. So does, Alan Wiggins threw a 90-mile-per-hour challenge fastball on 2 strikes to Ellie De La Cruz, guys. Like, stupid shit happens all the time. Everyone's going to do stupid shit at least once. Not going to sit here and start criticizing or critiquing Jason's ability to get better. He's also a really good second-half player. Look at his second-half numbers throughout his minor league career. Very, very good second-half player. What up, chat? What's up, John? How you doing? Stan shouldn't be batting 4th. I agree with that, actually. I don't think he should hit 4th. I think he should hit, like, 5th or 6th. I think Ben Rice is a better hitter than he is. That's just kind of where I'm at with that. What about Candelario? You got to wait for him to pass waivers. You do not want to claim him now because you have to take on the contract. And I also don't think he's good. So, yeah, I think actually Peraza might be a more useful player because he's a better defender. To me, Volpe's a second baseman. Look, I think the range is good. The arm isn't good, but he's a better defender than this. I'm sorry. He is. He's a better defender than this. He just is. Maybe that's bias. Maybe that's, saying it because of pre-existing notions, but he's a better defensive player than this. Didn't realize what my name could sound like until you said it. That's pretty funny. You couldn't pay Stan enough money to play for the Red Sox. He hates that team, rightfully so. Yeah, but if he has no other offers, like you guys have to understand, he got cut. He's going to go to anyone. He'll go to anyone that's willing to roster him. He's not going to get cut, by the way. Yeah, I don't think 6th or 7th, but like 5th. Actually, not 7th, excuse me. 6th is fine, but 7th, maybe a little too low. Alex Bregman would cost a draft pick and international money. Yeah, that's the other thing. The Yankees already lost 2 draft picks. They'd lose 2 more signing Bregman. And those things do matter. They just do. I'm sorry, guys. They do matter. The game is past Cashman by. He will put together a competitive roster, but not a winning one. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I don't believe in the whole, you're not a winner. You can determine a team is not going to win if they're in a playoff spot right now based on their worst stretch. It's baseball. I don't know. Did last year's group look like they were going to do anything in the postseason? If you asked me on July, I thought they were going to lose in the first round. I got to wait and see. With this group. I got to wait and see the entire season play out. Yankees are currently $9 million over the tax. Look, I agree that there's been some bad roster allocation. LeMahieu, Stroman, it's bad money. But that's anchoring a lot of that money. Hill is not a bad contract. Leiter's not a bad contract. Loiza's not a bad contract. They're cheap. Who cares? Cousins, that's not fair. He got hurt. Hey, Ross doesn't really make any money. He makes $800,000. Who cares? Which, by the way, I would love $800,000. Brubaker, can I see him pitch? I think we're getting a little crazy here. So, LA Yankee King, you're my guy. You're my guy. But I think it's a little bit too much. Volpe would get better, guys. I think defensively, yes. I gotta say offensively, not so sure. I can be confident about that one. And this is a departure. Like, I'm usually kind of the Volpe guy, but I'm kind of seeing it. I like calling things how I see it. That's kind of what I like to pride myself in. So yeah, Brett Wilson will play on the 2017 Astros team. I don't care. I can't be on. I gotta be honest. Like, I couldn't care less. He could play on the 04 Red Sox and the 17 Astros at the same time, and I wouldn't care. Will the Yankees try and re-sign Trent Grisham? Great question. I have no idea. I can't lie. I really don't know. Fine. What about trading for Correa and moving him to third base? Big contract, but and the play has not been great this year. I'm a little bit concerned about some of the trends I'm seeing offensively. But I wouldn't hate it. Like, I still think he's a good baseball player. I think he has good baseball in him left. I just will say that my enthusiasm to trade for him has died down seeing his production this season. You can't wait till July. You're going to have to wait until July. You are going to have to wait until July. I'm just letting you know now. The Yankees are just soft. The whole culture is soft. They create a culture of this is fine until it's not. I do think, to an extent, like saying this is fine, it's going to be fine, is something they try to do for confidence. Like, you don't want to react to the season the way that us as fans do. But I also think there needs to be a little more urgency. Like, hey, like, we're not hitting with runners in scoring position. What's going on here? Let's have some better at bats. Let's try and be a little more patient and not swing first pitch. Like, that can't be accepted in that clubhouse. That Wells at bat should not be accepted in that clubhouse. Judge, like, dude, you've got to be better in those spots. There is a track record of like sloppy, ugly play in games where you can kind of feel the pressure. You can kind of see when the Yankees press, even though they have that like, hey, nope, we're going to keep things level-headed. We're not going to get too high, not going to get too low. I think there needs to be a little more like, hey, we got to be better than this. We should play better than this. Like, this isn't acceptable. This is not, there needs to be a little more of that, like, what is and is not acceptable. And this kind of play, it's not that they're not hitting. It's that they're having bad at-bats in key spots in winnable games on top of sloppy, ugly, unacceptable baseball at times. So the combination of these things, I do think there are things they need as a culture. Yes, that could improve. I just do. I think there are things that could improve, but I ultimately do believe that the mentality is more of a don't get too high, don't get too low thing. And I also say I've never been inside that clubhouse. I've never have been. You talk to people and you kind of get a sense for what's going on in there, but I've never physically been in there. I can't, I can only speak so much to the person. So I do try and stay away from like, oh, this group's off, because like I don't know them. But I will say the play has not been, I would like them to respond to that kind of play a lot better. Are you tuning into Skeens versus The Miz? I'm rewatching that. I'm going to go back and watch the replay. Unfortunately, I'm going to probably have the game spoiled for me, but I'm going to go back and watch the replay because, oh man, is that a pitching matchup? But you guys should watch this stream and then watch that pitching matchup. Castro would only be batting 7th through 9th, so it's not like we'd be asking him to do anything crazy. Yeah, that's kind of a key point here. I think you just got to You can argue two things. Number one, the Yankees need that second guy next to Aaron Judge. And number two, that just having a bunch of good hitters around Aaron Judge is fine enough. I think you could argue for both schools here. I would personally side with like, just make sure you don't leave the infield untouched this deadline. McMahon seems to be a Coors merchant. Yeah, I kind of soured on him. I didn't realize how harsh those splits were because I liked his profile this year more than I have in years past. I've kind of been the anti-McMahon guy. But I also think partially, this is, pathetic, but partially like a desperation for someone. And then the defense, I really love his glove. I think he's such a good defensive player. But I'd have to agree, with the years left in that deal, if he was a rental, I'd take the risk. But no, I can't take the risk on a guy with like $32 million owed to him over 2 years. That's consequential money, folks. Out of the question, the Yankees aren't getting cheater calls. Correa, absolutely not. I wish it wasn't. Like, I don't care that he cheated. I don't. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't. Actual question, though, do you think it's crazy to say the Yankees will move Grisham or Jason to deadline for a position of need? No, I think moving an outfielder for a position of need is not out of the picture, and nothing should be ruled out of the picture. Sports pods with LJ. Chilling Arenado. If they can get a young progressing player, cool. If not, play the kids. I agree. I don't really want Arenado. And also I don't know if there's a kid you can play at third. Which top prospects would you move for a World Series caliber move? Could be a pitcher or hitter. Who would it be? Anyone. If you tell me, okay, you trade this prospect, they will win the World Series. There's never a player I'm going to say, nah. I'll say yes to every single one. Like, I love George Lombard Jr., but like if I don't know. I'm gonna throw something out here, and this isn't like realistic at all. But I'm just like I'm trying to think of like an infielder who would like really help this team. Like I don't know if like the Guardians are like, hey, we'll give you Jose Ramirez for like George Lombard Jr. They're not gonna do that. Obviously, the Guardians are never gonna trade Jose Ramirez. I mean, that's the most obvious yes ever. I think less of you if you would say no to that. I'm gonna be honest. I think less of you as a sports fan. But that's not going to happen. There isn't, I think, a player who's going to require George Lombard Jr. to acquire that will be that much of a difference maker for the Yankees. And therefore, I don't believe these guys will be traded. But again, I think that they need to, that they, and I believe in them to do this. They need to be better at, not better, excuse me. They need to get better at this deadline. They need to be able to make a tough decision. So, yeah. Brandon Moore, let's not bring in a guy who can boost the infield and be a productive hitter because it's something that happened 10 years ago. I agree. I look, I'm not going to laugh at it. Like I try and I don't like, I don't like doing the whole, I try not to laugh at people for their takes. Like, I think everyone has their own baseball perspective, but I do agree that like, I wouldn't say no to Carlos Correa because of that. I would say no to Carlos Correa because if someone was like, hey, the contract and like, look at his numbers this year. Yeah, that's a very reasonable talking point, but I don't think it's because of the cheating. I just can't, I personally, I don't have that kind of attachment to like, we should have won the 2017 World Series. God damn it. Like I just kind of find myself like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? You can help the Yankees. You can help the Yankees. My main case for Castro is that he's a lefty switch hitter, plays second, short, all three infield spots, can give Volpe his days off, and also gonna say this right now, you might have to build in some insurance for Volpe. Like you might need to bring in someone who can play instead of Volpe if need be. Just putting that out there. And his road stats show that Target Field might be holding him back. He has a really good swing for Yankee Stadium, like a really good swing for Yankee Stadium. So I do like Willie Castro for that. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to skip some of the Correa talk. I'm not going to lie, guys. I get it. I know that, there's one side of the argument. There's the other side of an argument. I respect you both. But I don't want to be taking shots or targeting anyone specifically in this chat. I really appreciate you guys just being here and having a conversation. So head honcho, Brandon Moore, if you guys have any other questions, I'll obviously answer them, but I'll let you guys argue about Correa without putting either of you two on blast. Why not McMahon and move Jazz to second? Look, I think Ryan McMahon would make the Yankees better, but again, concerns about the road splits. He has an OPS about like 530 or 540 on the road, and the strikeout rate on the road. You see, this is a guy who has like, I think a third percentile whiff rate as a Coors player. So, you have to be worried about like how that's going to translate when you're playing games away from Coors Field, where whiff rates traditionally are just lower away from Coors Field. He has a 37.1% strikeout rate on the road. That's concerning. Like that's really concerning. You don't know what that what the whiff rates are going to look like. Now, you can argue if he plays all of his games on the road and he doesn't get accustomed to Coors Field, he could hit better. And that's fair. But he is a high whiff guy already. And I don't want to play around and have a situation where I'm saddled to $32 million over the next 2 years of a player who may actually just suck in the Bronx. Yankees are going to play Volpe till the world ends. With Dominguez, they say, no, we're good because of Grish. JD should be playing every day and leading off. There's a fundamental difference here. The Yankees backup, the Yankees alternative option at shortstop is Oswald Peraza. Grisham, Bellinger, and Judge are all outfielders. Rice and Stanton both DH. That is you cannot compare those two situations. If the New York Yankees did not have Trent Grisham break out, Jason Dominguez would be playing every single day. But he did break out. And you have two DHs, and you have four outfielders, and all of them got to play. All six of those guys got to play. You definitely cannot touch Judge's playing time. You want to have Bellinger play because of his defense. Grisham's been much better defensively as of late. Stanton, you have to see if he has something left in the tank so you can see if he's a guy who help you or not. And you can't sit Ben Rice. It's way, way different. If Volpe was an outfielder, he wouldn't be on the team, you could argue. If Dominguez was a shortstop, he'd play every day. He's not, though. He's the outfielder, and the Yankees have a lot of outfield DH types, so it's not a one-for-one fair comparison. What do we got here? They always have a rough June. Taking out Rodon is ridiculous. Look, he said he was gassed. I think that's not fair. I really don't think it's fair to criticize Boone for that. He said he was gassed. He was gassed. Like, he was out of fumes. He was on fumes. He ran out of gas. It's hot. Like, I get it. I understand. But that, I don't see how that's a Boone thing. You got to take out a pitcher who's gassed. You just do. Like, if he's telling you I'm tired, you have to also understand when you're mechanically trying to pitch through fatigue, you leave yourself susceptible to injury. This is where you end up using your upper body more than your lower body, where you put more pressure and stress on the elbow, when you put more pressure or stress on the shoulder, and then you end up getting hurt. So we don't want these things. You have to manage knowing that you cannot push a guy who's saying, yeah, I'm gassed, dude. I'm huffing and puffing. I don't got anything left in me. Lighter, pitch bad. I don't think he's the worst reliever ever, but yeah, he pitched bad in that game, and he should have done better in that outing. He made some bad pitches, and hopefully he can recover from that. But appreciate you responding, and Steak 96, appreciate you stopping by. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. I can't really read that well. There used to be a standard, Ryan. Look, I will say, going to the Fnax Fest panel with the old Yankees, you had Jeter, Pettit, Posada, CC, and A-Rod all there. It did make me go like, hey, the attitude after losing doesn't seem to feel the same as the attitude after losing today. Now, that seems to be a league-wide culture thing. I think league-wide baseball has become more accepting to larger sample sizes and not reacting strongly to each and every week. But I do believe that, there's a little bit of that like, yeah, again, kind of, I will say there's a little bit of reminiscing on the good old days where, you won a championship in 2009. Derek Jeter has 5 titles. Andy Pettit, 5 titles. Posada, 5 titles. There's a little bit of that. But, I think that this group is capable of turning this around. This group is capable of finding it the way they kind of found it towards the end of last year, and got themselves on a run. Ultimately didn't get the job done. But I think there's that is still in the cards for them. That can still happen. It is up to them to just put that kind of play together and be the group that gets the job done. So, yeah. Call up Lombard and George Jones now? No, and no. Yeah, no. No. Yeah. Yeah, no. Not ready, yeah. I'm not a big put the ball in the play, worry about the strikeouts guy, but watching us extra innings, I don't know, man. Yeah, dude, it's been bad. Do not get me wrong. It's been bad. Like, they've seemed to only strike out in big spots. It's a little bit frustrating. Just a little bit frustrating. What about Tyler Freeman from the Rockies? Can replace Barraz on the bench. So you want to get a starter. I think that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I want to get someone who can start and play every day and perform every day. And Tyler Freeman has been, like, good for the Rockies. Actually, he's been really good. Wait, hold on. This is actually a really good shout. What the hell? I thought he was hitting way worse. He has hit for Colorado. Has not played great defense, but I want to see how much of it is because of outfield play. He's played a bad second base. Played really bad second base. I don't know if he can field. That's the one thing. He can swing the bat. He can swing the stick a little bit. And also, I will say, like, are the Rockies going to trade a pre-arbitration player to the Yankees? Like, they don't really sell that much anyways. This is a good shout. LA Yankee King, this is a good shout. I also wonder, does this profile work in Yankee Stadium? Like, does being a 340 BABIP guy work in this in the ballparks that aren't, Coors Field with like big fields? Trying to see here. Where's the numbers? Oh, he's hit better on the road. Okay. You know what? Put a pin on it. Put a pin on it. All right. He's stamped. People complain, but there really aren't great options out there right now. We just have to step it up. Yeah, they have to play better baseball for sure. There's nothing you're going to do at the deadline who's going to change the fact that you need the current guys in this room to play better. Jason gets on base and works good at bats at a high clip. I need him in there. Yeah, I would like to see him play, for sure. I'm just saying, it's not fair to compare it to Volpe's situation. I think it would take ERC another prospect of his level to get Suarez. Yeah, top 10 prospect. I think ERC is like 6th or 7th. Throw another top 10 guy. No, I think I get you Suarez. Except Suarez, who I definitely want, but don't know if he gets traded. Yeah, there's the mystery around, like, will he get traded? But for sure, definitely someone who would certainly boost this offense like an absolute ton. Like, he would be a massive boost. I'm gonna go wipe my nose because I can feel it running. Like, you feel it. I want to kind of I like getting ahead of it. I'm kind of a big germaphobe, so I'll be right back. I'm a huge germaphobe. I'm just gonna grab. I got a tissue box down here, so I'm just gonna. We're back. Gonna get some hand sanitizer. Big hand sanitizer. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I'm a big germaphobe. Don't like it. I don't have the sniffles. It's like summertime. Have you guys ever had the sniffles during the summertime? Anyone? Anyone here? Like anyone in the comments? You guys get sniffles in the summer? This is very rare. I've never had like, I don't know if it's the humidity or the heat. I have not, my nose wasn't even running this morning. I really don't know what's going on. So yeah. Said it before, got pushed back. Boone's trash, gotta go. Nah, I don't think it's Boone. We'll see though. If the reliever market shows any resemblance of last year's, I can't see them bidding high on the top arms with how well they develop and improve pitchers. I don't think you have to bid on the top arms. Now, I will say, I wrote about this today. I wrote about 5 relievers, and I'll list them real quick for you. Gregory Soto, Jake Bird, also the Rockies, David Bednar, Holby Milner, and Yohan Duran. And Milner is more of like cheap. I compare him to a Honda Civic. If you actually look at his numbers, he's been really good. He's been good for a while. I looked at, I think Bednar has power fastball stuff. Obviously, it's a bigger name. Jake Bird, bigger name as well. Gregory Soto is like, the ERA is not great, but the underlyings are good. I really like him. And Yohan Duran's the established, kind of like what you mentioned, like the top arm who's like going to cost you an arm and a leg to get. I will say, with Yohan Duran, the Yankees have had interest in trading for him before, and they've tried to trade for him before. I don't know what it's going to look like this year. I don't know if they feel the same way because of Devin Williams being acquired, but they have in the past. So I don't think the Yankees share the mindset of we shouldn't invest a lot in our relievers. More so like they haven't really found reliever. They don't want to spend money on relievers. I think they are willing to trade a lot for a reliever, though. They showed interest in Kenley Jansen a few years back. I just think the Yankees end up falling short in their bids, but still end up pursuing them. I wouldn't be shocked if the Yankees ended up with a top line bullpen arm. I don't think they believe the starter market's very good, and I think they do value Luis Gil as an actual, like, hey, he's going to come back and help us. So, yeah, that's where there's a little bit of, like, I don't really know. I don't really know. I don't really know what the bullpen market's going to shape up to be like, but if there's a top arm available and the Yankees find a match, they're going to pursue it. They're going to pursue it. That's my understanding of the situation. So, yeah. How about Josh Smith from the Rangers? I don't believe the Rangers will trade him because their offense is really bad. But if they did, I'd like Josh Smith. Sorry, but Yankee fans hating on Boone for taking out Rodon are simple-minded. I think it's just like the lack of information. If you just see Aaron Boone pull Carlos Rodon from a strategy standpoint, I don't think it's the right call. But if you pay attention to the post game and you find the comments, yeah, you can see why it happened. So yeah, I think it's a matter of like, hey, if you just know what's going on, right? You'll know that Boone pulled him for a reason. Hope Rodon can win his 10th game tonight. The Yankees can score more runs. Yeah, I hope you get what you need to get from the guys. That you deliver and you step up today because it's got to be better. It's got to be better. It's got to be better. Has to be. Could do Freeman, Bird, or Holverson. Not too bad. I will say with Holverson, I don't think he's gonna get traded because he's pre-arbitration and his stuff plays there. Jake Bird, I like him too a lot. I will say the same concerns of like, is he gonna get traded? Are the Rockies gonna deal him? Like, are we sure? Those kinds of things. So yeah. Kills me when people talk about the Narvaez trade, like ERC isn't really good right now. Yeah, I think it's too early to determine what's going to happen with that trade. My allergies are bumping. I don't know what's up. I've never dealt with allergies in the summer. Like I've dealt with it in the spring with like pollen. And also developed while I was in my room. I don't know if like maybe I have some dust. I can dust my room. That's not a bad call actually. But I don't think it's dust. Like you can kind of tell when there's dust. Like you can tell. I'm concerned for Judge, how Judge will fare in the playoffs. I don't trust him. He hasn't performed in the playoffs. That's true. But I will say, as someone who's very critical, and I will say I'm very critical of Judge's performance in high leverage situations and his performance in the postseason this past year. I know it's all, I have the wherewithal to remember it's not predictive. And I think he can do it. I think he can get it done. Do you think Schlittler gets traded? I'm going to say, who will be the best prospect to get traded at the deadline? I would say it's Cam Schlittler. I think Cam Schlittler is the best prospect the Yankees trade this deadline. Is that my answer? I don't think he's 100% going to get traded, but he will be the best prospect they trade if they trade one. Like if the best prospect I think that gets traded is Cam Schlittler. I think LeGrand has a chance to get traded. I think anyone outside of Lombard Jr. has a chance to get traded. That's kind of where my head's at. Lombard, if someone special stepped up, yeah, but I don't think that exists this deadline. Yeah, and I'll share a sentiment. It would suck, but I will say, Ally Yankee King, like, if the right guy's available, you got to do it, right? If the right guy's available, you got to do it. But I will say with Schlittler, I mean, he has blossomed into like, beforehand, I would have just thrown him into trades willy-nilly. Like, I'm willing to trade any prospect. I've kind of historically been that way, even though I'm a big prospect guy. Like, I know the median outcome for these guys. I just do. But Schlittler, man, he's got special arm talent. That guy's got an arm, man. That guy can shoot bullets. He sat 97.4 in his last start. Like his perceived fastball velocity is like 97. Cutters gross, sliders gross, curveballs gross. Like it's disgusting stuff. It really is disgusting stuff for sure. Dominguez has been disappointing. I feel like that's unfair. He's a rookie. He's been disappointing defensively, you could argue, but like again, he was a bad defensive player. Like he's getting better. I think the results are not as good as the process to play. The process to play is still very good. I will defend the process to play, but that's also relative to expectations. I didn't expect Jason Dominguez to be a superstar year one. Maybe people did, and that's fair. Like I get it. I can hear both sides of it, but I think that you just got to give him some time. I think varies a little much. What do you think about Ben Rice, the everyday catcher, and should Escobar play more? I don't think that Rice should catch every day. I think Escobar could play more for sure. And I think that with Wells, he's a really good defender. So like that has to factor into this conversation. I think he's the best defensive catcher of the three. And I will also say with Wells, he just has to stop chasing. Just stop chasing, and I think his problems will go away. Michael Garcia, and I'll answer your question again, Christian, in a second. I think the Royals are not going to trade a position player given how bad their offense is. Even if they're out of it, their offense sucks. They got to keep any offensive player they can keep. What if the Yankees need to be a wild card team for Judge to perform? If the Yankees make the wild card and Judge has a great postseason and they win the World Series, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care about how you get in if you do your thing in the postseason. I care that you get in. Now, I do want them to win the division. I do want them to have a top 2 seed. This is not coping in case the Rays win it. This is saying, what I'm going to judge the New York Yankees on is if they get to the postseason and what they do in the postseason. Point blank and period. That's what everyone in New York should judge the Yankees on. Their postseason play. Not saying that, like, if they flame out in October, they stink, but the season's not a failure until the postseason's over. If the Yankees win the World Series, the wild card team, I don't care if they blew the division. I don't care if they had a massive division lead. I don't care. I don't. And I also don't care if the Yankees win the division and the Rays go on to win the World Series. I won't care that the Yankees won the division. So, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at there. I think that, I don't know. I don't really buy into the idea that like the days off are affecting the players, but we'll see. It's going to be really hard for me to give you like any sort of direct answer without knowing. Like, how am I supposed to give you an answer without knowing? Like, without seeing it? Like it's kind of hard. I don't want to get anyone's hopes ups or down for anything. So, yeah. I would hate to trade Schlittler. We talked about that. Let's see what we got. I could see them trading Grisham for a reliever to open up a right-handed outfield spot who can hit lefties. I wouldn't want it to be for a reliever. I'd prefer it to be for a higher value position like a starter or an infielder. But this isn't a bad idea. Like trading Grisham for someone, acquiring a right-handed outfielder who's of similar value, playing Jason Dominguez every single day in left field against righties, and then using that right-handed outfielder against lefties. I like Dane Myers of the Miami Marlins a ton. I think he's a really good fit for that role. Good speed, good defense, can play center field. You could put Bellinger in left in those games, Myers in center. You could put Dominguez in left, Bellinger in center in the games that it's right-handed pitching. You have a strong defensive outfield when you have lefty when there's a lefty on the mound. You improve your offense when there's a lefty on the mound. You improve your overall offense as a whole because the Yankees do struggle against left-handed pitching. I think that's Dominguez is better. Dominguez better. I think it's a brilliant suggestion. Although again, I'd prefer it to not be for a reliever. Trading Griffin Herring would hurt me. He's been a breakout guy this year. He's been a lot better than I think anyone could have expected. Mike Elgar, we talked about that. Yep. Sorry, my bad, head honcho. My fault. Do you think Beater comes up somewhat soon for someone in the bullpen? His walk rate's been really high this year, so I can see why they haven't brought him up. It depends. If someone gets hurt, I think he'll come up, but for now, I don't think he will. Dane is awesome, but he's got to have a lot of control, right? He does. He has 3 more years of control, but he's 29. So, like, and I'm pretty confident saying the Marlins will trade anyone who isn't, like, Augustine Ramirez or, like, I can't even, who else? Yuri Perez? Yeah, like those 2 guys. Anyone else that they're not going to trade? They'll trade anyone. Has DJ done enough to stay in the lineup? Oswald Peraza hasn't done enough to threaten his playing time. That's the best way to put it. Living Water, they changed the game from baseball to home run derby to gain marginal fans. I disagree. The game changed because pitching has gotten better. Like, I'm sorry. You can't tell me that, like, you can't tell me the game's changed to appease fans. Fans don't want this kind of game. Fans do not enjoy 3 true outcome baseball. Pitching has created, like, it was created out of necessity, not to save the sport. Grisham could be one of those buyer trades. Very good point. That and we trade for an infielder from a team who needs an outfielder. The Phillies and Alec Boehm. Phillies, Grisham. Just saying. I think that would work. You maybe throw in a reliever, maybe throw in someone else. I don't know, but that would work. I think DJ can make a case to be a comeback player of the year. No. Sorry. He's been solid. He's been better than I thought he'd be. And like he should be on the bench, shouldn't be cut. But like I think that there are other candidates who are going to be better for that role just because there are guys playing better than him. So yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Why can't Jazz play second base when Peraza at third? I agree. Why do we not do this? Why? I don't get it. I really don't, man. I don't. I just, like, it always bothers me. Boone would be hilarious full circle moment for you. It would be, because I have said multiple times, like, dude, he sucks. And now I think he's kind of underrated. So, yeah. What should the Yankees go after? What should the Yankees go after? A pitcher or a position player? Both. I would say they need to do both. But I agree that I would want him if he's available. He is so much better than what we have, man. He just is. He just is. Like, I just want someone better than what we have. Alec Boehm's intriguing. Yeah, he is. No idea why our defense isn't optimized. I don't know either. I mean, there's no public reason. That's what I'll say. Maybe there's a private one. There's a private one that maybe shouldn't get out. That's what I'll say. Maybe a private one that doesn't get out. Yeah. For now, if they don't end up trading for an infielder, I don't know. I think there are going to be other options that, like, just stand out more. 48% hard hit rate, doesn't chase K or whiff that much. Good defense. Yeah, he's just a solid stick. He's a solid stick, can hit lefties. He's a solid stick. Oh boy, yeah. Yeah. What's it going to take to get Suarez? Probably 2 top 10s prospects, like a top 10 and a top 15, right? Probably pitching centric. Again, if you offered the Arizona Diamondbacks camp, they're going to love that package because they need starting pitching badly. So, yeah. I've been seeing ICAF is in our interest. That'd make me furious. Good, solid player, but please. Yeah, I think you need a starting third baseman. So, yeah. How do we feel about someone like Chris Martin or Pierce Johnson? I think they're solid. Martin did just give up 3 home runs in one outing yesterday, which, like, tanks his value a ton. Like, his home run per 9 rate's 1.48. He's getting barreled way more this year than he's gotten barreled in years past. That is a concern. Like, I like him a lot, but I'm gonna just throw like a medium. Like, I'm gonna throw like a not a red. I'm gonna throw a yellow flag up there. Pierce Johnson is really good. I love Pierce Johnson. Like, bring this man to the Bronx for sure. Also has some barrel issues. Like, that is concerning. I don't think the Braves will trade him because of his club option. It's a cheap club option. I think that they'll keep him. Felt like an explosion to the Rangers season. Yeah, for sure. They're bad. Should we dump Dominguez and Jones for a bigger name? No. Jones isn't going to fetch you as much as you think on the market. I think that teams have polarizing opinions on him. Dominguez, I'm not ready to give up on Dominguez. I'm just not. Like, I don't think there's enough reason to. Holby Milner, he's a solid vet. Dude, he's a Honda Civic. Holby Miller's a Honda Civic of left-handed relievers. He just is. He just is. He just is. So, yeah. Is there anything else we want to ask or touch on? We're rounding into the last few minutes here. Really appreciate you guys sticking through. This has been one of the most active chats we've had in a while in our live streams. Really appreciate your continued support. If you are someone who's watching this after this is aired and that after this is live and you're saying, damn it, I missed it, this sucks. I personally believe that the New York Yankees are in a spot where they are going to need to trade for people. And, we agree on that. And I think they need to have an aggressive deadline. But if you want to hear me talk more about these things, you want to hear me do it live, just show up here at 2 p.m. on weekdays. Again, we'll probably not be live tomorrow. I'll be either in Somerset or Hudson Valley. I haven't determined where I'm going to be at yet. I have to figure out where my credential situation is, but I will be in either spot to cover a game. So that'll be fun. There's a lot of minor league action going on tonight. So if the Yankees piss you off, Ben Hess, Carlos LeGrand, and Cam Schiller are all throwing. You should keep tabs on that. And yeah, so any more final questions that you guys have, I'll take them now. And then we're going to wrap it up here. I think we need a high energy guy to wake the team up the same way Jazz did last year. Yeah, they need like a splash guy who's going to come in and provide some value, because it's more than the beginning of the year. Does Jones have that much value? Yeah, I think it's more than the beginning of the year, but I think he's more of like a back-end top 10 in a bad organization depth-wise. Not bad. Like a mediocre farm system. So, yeah. It's not going to get you a superstar, but it can help you in a deal. There's really no help unless Cleveland wants to trade Quan. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there is some help that can make you better, though. Marte and throw him at third. Ketel Marte's not getting traded, unfortunately. Or fortunately, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, or just hate the Yankees and you don't want the Yankees to get Ketel Marte. Those are reasonable things as well. But yeah, gonna wrap things up here. My nose is gonna explode. I sound congested and stuffed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Ryan Garcia. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course this YouTube page. You can also check out my personal page at Ryan Garcia ESM on Twitter. And finally, make sure to check out EmpireSportsMedia.com for written coverage on all of your favorite New York sports teams. Again, we go live at 2 p.m. So if you're watching this after, just show up at 2 p.m. on weekdays. I'll be here live conversing with you, the fans. Thank you again for tuning in. Let's go Yankees, and peace out, everyone. Let's go Yankees. Yeah, I got to throw out the outro video. My nose, this is bad. Peace.
Perfect.